In this lesson, we will go over how underlying forms influence the clothing we wear. So in the last lesson, we went over the topics of gravity, tension points, and the characteristics of fabric. The final aspect of how clothing is shaped is underlying forms. So what I mean about that is how clothing reacts when it is placed on a surface. So in this example, we have a simple table with a tablecloth on top. And as you can see, the cloth is taking on the form of the table. The corners of the table are the tension points. So tension point here and here. And then gravity is pulling the cloth down. And it just hangs off these tension points and the edge of the table. So if we go to this next example, you can see that we have a piece of cloth on a chair, and you can see the back of the chair would be the tension points right along here, and it's just hanging over the back and then also hanging over the front and then coming to a rest on the seat. So I have another view on the other side. So tension points here and then just hanging down, creating these folds. So how does this relate to the figure? Well, if you break the figure down into three simple shapes, a sphere, cube, and a cylinder, and you think of the figure as a combination of those shapes, then you can better understand how fabric reacts when it's draped on top of it. So in this demo, we're going to demonstrate how fabric reacts when draped across these three simple shapes. So I'm going to jump back to ZBrush, and I set up this little scene with a cube, a sphere, and a cylinder. And so what we're going to do is just going to do a quick exercise where we just kind of subdivide these pieces of geometry on top of these simple cubes and spheres and cylinders, and just sculpt on top and kind of get a feel for how these underlying forms will influence the fabric on top. So if we go to like the cube and we just subdivide this a couple times, and what I'm going to do is just go to the move tool, and I'm just going to pull these out a little bit so that it's covering up the corners. Just pull it up and then pull these out a little bit. So I have everything covered now. So if we jump back and we look at our first image, you can see that these corners, the cloth is flaring out from the corners, but along this edge, it's staying pretty consistent and it's just kind of going straight down. So let's just quickly get that feeling of the corners kind of flaring out. So what I'm going to do is just going to mask this off right here. I'm going to do the same thing over here. Just mask this off. And then just do that all the way around. And what I'm going to do is, after I finish masking this off, is I'm just going to invert it by holding Control and then clicking on the canvas. And I'm going back to my move tool, make a big brush, and I'm just going to push this in. So I get the feeling that it's just the cloth is coming straight down from that edge. So here, as you can see, it's coming down. And then we kind of get the feeling that it's flaring out. So I'm going to clear the mask. And then what I'm going to do is just go to Fold 01. I'm probably going to turn the gravity down. And then I'm just going to quickly look at the reference right here. So it's kind of flares out. So I'm just going to quickly just get that feeling of flaring out. And then I just want to sharpen this edge a little bit. And then just create these simple folds. And we'll be done here in a little bit. So, and just kind of create this feeling that it's coming off of this corner. Let me fix this line. And let me go back to fold 01 and just kind of sharpen this corner up a little bit. Same thing here. And just do the last one real quickly. Oops. Let me fix this line a little bit. Go back to the move tool. And then fix it over here. And then go back to fold 01 and just give the feeling that it's flaring out from the corners. So that's one example. Let's just go ahead and just move on to the sphere. So I'm just going to subdivide this a couple times. Just go back to my move brush and just make sure that the cloth is covering the sphere. So with the sphere, the tension is kind of consistent all the way across. So you're not going to get any like hard corners like on the cube. So I'm just going to go back to the fold, and I'm just going to just create some quick folds that are consistently around the sphere. So just real quick, just get the feeling that it's kind of draping on top, and the tension is consistent across or around the sphere. And it's just going to be really quick. And just using the Fold 01 brush. And we're almost done here. So really quick, but we're getting there. And then just want to go to the move brush and just get rid of this straight line. So maybe just pull it down a little bit, you know, kind of give it some asymmetry. Then maybe go fold 2 and just put some like tighter lines in there. You know, that like it's coming down from the top and being pulled down by gravity. But we don't have any sharp corners like the cube. So it's going to fall sort of evenly around. So here we go, we're almost done. And just kind of hit these last ones. Okay, so I think we're going to move on to the next one. So we're going to move on to the cylinder. So I'm just going to subdivide this a couple times and just go to the move brush. And then I'm going to just move it out along its normal by just holding down Alt and then pushing on it. So what I want to do is just go to Fold 01, and I just want to do the same thing. So the gravity, it's going to be a little bit flatter on top, and then the tension is kind of going to be across here. So I'm just going to create some dangling folds that come down this way and just break up this surface. So let me see, like comes up here. It'll probably be a little bit flatter on top, but we want to kind of break up this surface as well. And then just do the same thing on the other side. And then we'll go back in and put some tighter folds in there. So just real quick, just kind of breaking this surface up. Right now it looks a little too even, but this is just a quick exercise. So just go back to Fold 2, and what we're going to do is just kind of maybe subdivide it one more time, and then just create some folds. You know, maybe this sort of kind of overlaps, kind of create a fold that comes down and then branches off until 2. So maybe it goes the other way. It kind of comes into one fold and then just work on the other side. Just bring it up. Actually, turn this gravity down a little bit, so it functions a little bit more just like a standard brush. Since I don't really need the gravity right now, I'm just sort of, the gravity's sort of already made for, simulated for me, since it's coming off of this tension point edge. So let me just break this big fold up a little bit. So let me just go back to the move brush and just get rid of this straight line so it feels a little bit more natural. And there we go. So I think that exercise sort of gets the point across for underlying forms. So just to recap, we went over the concept of underlying forms, and we did a demonstration on how a fabric drapes over a cube, a sphere, and a cylinder. And I will see you in the next lesson.